What's up, guys? I'm Daniel. Today, in my refutation speech, I'll be refuting the claim that social media has a negative impact on youth. In their speech, my opponent attempted to prove their claim with 3 negative aspects about social media. Those 3 were cyberbullying, the prioritization of social media over school or family, and finally, how it takes away from face-to-face interaction. I'll be dismissing and diminishing these points using reasoning and evidence contrary to their claim. So the first claim I'm going to try and refute is the claim that cyberbullying is running rampant and adding to our bullying problem. Off the bat, I don't deny that cyberbullying is happening, but it's at a much less serious rate than what my opponent claims. They got their statistic for cyberbullying off of Low Big Inc., which is a blog. It's a pretty biased, opinionated blog. The support I have for my claim is from 2016 statistic from the Department of Education. In it says that since data on bullying started being gathered in 2005, the percentage of children who have reported being bullied has dropped from 28% to 20%. Basically, what the statistic does is diminish the claim that cyberbullying is an epidemic. Even with the introduction of social media within the past 10 years, we see that overall, bullying has gone down. So to say that cyberbullying alone is enough reason to put down our phones and deactivate our accounts is it's crazy. Their second claim is that people prioritize social media over school and family. My counterclaim to this is that people prioritize social media because it is their only way of contacting their school or family, even reuniting families in some instances. And so the internet, specifically social media, has made the world an even smaller place. Many people connect through Facebook and other messaging sites just because of the sheer speed of sending and receiving messages. Like in this example from last summer, during the terror attacks during Bastille Day in Paris, where a family was separated from their baby amidst the chaos. And through the power of social media, a picture of the baby and their family was shared over 22,000 times in under 12 hours, and this led to the reunion of the baby and with the family. Their third point was that social media takes away from face-to-face interaction. And I reason that it not only adds more forms of interaction, but also adds other forms of face-to-face interaction. This evidence isn't from an article or a statistic, but it's proved through examples. People being able to communicate through text, through voice, through pictures, through drawings, and even being able to communicate through emojis in some instances. Additionally, it doesn't take away from face-to-face interaction. It adds enough more platforms to face-to-face interact, such as FaceTime, Skype, instant messaging, chat roulette, other web-based forms of interacting face-to-face. So in conclusion, social media has changed the way we interact with one another, but this change has happened before. We've seen it happen with traditional mail, telegrams, telephones. It just makes the world a smaller place. It makes contacting and interacting with one another easier. Each of these innovations has also introduced challenges that we need to overcome. We can't let these challenges hold back that innovation. We need to keep moving forward and confront these challenges instead of shy away from them and restrict ourselves. Thanks.
All right, Daniel, the preview is great. We know what the advocate's claim was and what their secondary points were. You got through that pretty quickly. You went to the first point immediately. You don't deny that cyberbullying exists, but you've got a good counterclaim that suggests that it's less significant than the advocate presented. You begin by challenging the source that the advocate presents, suggesting that it is particularly biased. There's nothing wrong with a source challenge, although I'm not exactly sure why this source is biased and why being a blog is problematic. I do think, for example, if there are no credentials to the person who wrote the blog, if they don't cite a reason for believing any of the information that they're presenting, that would be a reason to say this is not really a credible source. So do that kind of thing. If there's something that's missing from the source that's being cited, they don't even tell you who this person is, or if they have any credibility or expertise in the area, and it's just a random opinion, then I'm not sure that it matters that much more than anybody making any random claim. So that's a little bit problematic. I think you have the right answer by presenting an authoritative piece of information that documents trying to track the amount of bullying that's going on, and that's the way you want to contrast the point. I thought you did a good job of that, actually saying, look, the Department of Education, which has been tracking this stuff since 2005 using a statistical tool, says that we have an 8% decrease in the amount of bullying that's going on. We've gone from 28% down to 20%, and that's in the period in which social media has expanded rapidly. So that seems to I think, really fit your argument. This is the best argument that you have in the debate, or in the argument here, where you are in essence saying, that the advocate's position is not adequately proven. I've got information that suggests that the problem is not as significant, and my information comes from a source that's more credible. There's good contrast on all the arguments that's being presented there. I think you needed a little bit of the same sort of thing on the other points. I thought that you had good arguments on the other points, but we didn't get the same kind of contrasting that's going on there. I like the example of how the world's become a smaller place, and there's a benefit to access to social media. I'm not sure that really addresses the issue of prioritization of time that the advocate's talking about, but it does show that there is something that counterbalances this a little bit. So that's the way you have to look at that argument. But if the priorities that the advocate talked about are really significant and important, we spend less time on school issues or productivity things because of our obsession with social media. And this example doesn't counter that at all. It just suggests that there's some other benefit that occurs. There are lots of benefits that occur from things that also have negative consequences. So I think you need to have something a little bit more specific on that particular point. On the third point, I think you've got the right argument here, which is that social media increases the opportunities. It just changes the platform by which people do the face-to-face type interaction. So they aren't looking at people face-to-face, but do they talk to people more often and more frequently, for instance? Are they more careful about how they communicate? Have they expanded the tools that they have for communicating as a result of this sort of thing? And here's the thing I think you need to do is you need to challenge the advocate on the argument that suggests that there's less face-to-face interaction. Why is that automatically true? Just because people spend time on social media, does that automatically subtract from the amount of time that they spend on other things? They may have traded their drinking time by themselves for social media time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they eliminated the time that they have dinner with their family or that they talk to their friends on the phone or something like that. I did like the exit comment that you have that says it's simply new media, and we've always run into these problems every time new media come along. We've got from mail to telegraph to telephone, every time we've got some new innovation in the way people communicate, problems come up, but we generally deal with them, and the advantages of them are so often greater in the long run that it seems silly to be worrying about some of the minor inconveniences. So I thought that you did a good job on that. I just think that you could probably make some better information on those points. All right, thank you.